What is up, my Shadowverse soldiers, and welcome back to another Shadowverse Evolved video. Alright soldiers, in today's video we're going to be going over the Swordcraft set 9 cards, and I absolutely know nothing about Swordcraft as of set 9. I'm very interested in what's going to be coming out. I do know one thing actually, I know there's a deck that's going to be called Black and White coming out. I don't know what those cards are going to consist of, I don't know how it's going to work, but I know it's going to be very fun going into set 9 and having new Swordcraft cards. So let's go ahead and get into the first card. Alright, without further ado, we have our first card, Celia Sky Commander. So it's a 1 cost 2/2. You can evolve for 1 into a Celia Hope Strategist, or evolve her for 4 into a Celia Despair's Messenger. Alright, so I absolutely enjoy when Swordcraft gets low to the ground cards, because it really does feel traditional to Swordcraft when they have low to ground cards that are just 1 cost 2/2s like little goblins. But it is nice seeing them in set 9 being evolved into different cards, and also pertaining to the new kind of archetypes of, hey, we have a card that's like front and back, where you can choose either Cecilia's Hope Strategist or the Despair's Messenger side. Alright, and looking at the Hope Strategist, so it is still a 2/2 at the end of the day, and when you evolve it, you summon a Shield Guardian token. Alright, for a total of 2 play points, you get the 2/2 follower that spawns out a Ward 1/1, which is pretty nice, so you get 3/3 in stats for 2 play points. Alright, and then we have Despair's Messenger, so she turns into a 4/4, she has Storm, but on evolve you summon a Steelclad Knight and a Knight token. I wonder where I've seen this ability before. Well, if you don't already know what Fencer is the exact same on evolve effect with Fencer. And on top of that, this card has Storm, so it looks like this deck is going to be running a little bit lower to the ground. As soon as you get to turn 5, you want to go ahead and get into this, get some Storm damage in, spawn out some good tokens on the field, so I can understand where the black and white aspect is going to be coming from. Alright soldiers, we have one of our brothers in this set. We have Spartacus. So he's a 5 cost 4/6 and he has Ward. At the start of your end phase, discard any number of cards, then draw X cards. X equals the number of cards you discarded plus 1. Then if there are 1 or less cards in your deck, you win the match. Alright, so I absolutely love alternative win cons like this. So it looks like if you're going to be rocking Spartacus in your deck, you're going to be drawing as many cards as you can. So we're going to be running cards that just draw cards every time it's played, or just mills cards for ourselves. So we can go ahead and make sure we have at least 1 card in our deck when we go ahead and play Spartacus. Obviously, it's not going to be happening turn 5, because there's no way you're going to be able to get that many cards down by turn 5. But later on in the game, if you're able to survive and just prolong the game out while drawing cards and doing other things, it looks like this could be a possibility, maybe like turn 9, turn 10. Alright, next up we have Innocent Princess Prim, so she's a 2 cost 1/1. You can evolve her for 1, but when she comes into play you summon a Knight token. So I'm liking how Swordcraft is a little low to the ground this set. So of course we saw a 1 cost card that can turn into a 4/4 Storm and spamming out bodies like Floral Fencer, but now we have Innocent Princess that's spending 2 and you can get a 2/2 worth in stats while also evolving and getting other abilities. Alright, and then we have Princess Prim Evolve, so she turns into a 2/2, and on evolve you search your deck for a Nanja Silent Maid, reveal it and add it to your hand, then shuffle your deck. So not only do you get to play this card out and then get a token onto the field, but you do get to evolve it and then replace the card that you played this turn, so I think that's pretty good. And speaking of the Nanja Silent Maid, here she is. She's a 3 cost 4/4, and if there's an Innocent Princess Prim on your field, this card costs 1 less to play. When she comes into play, you draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards. Alright, so I don't know about you, but a 2 cost 4/4 is really good in terms of stats and how much you spent. So being able to draw 2 and discarding 2 is very nice too, to go ahead and dig through your deck a little deeper, and then filtering out the trash in your hand that you don't need. And I don't really know if you run Trail of Lights in this build, but I highly doubt you do, because you play really low to the ground, so you don't need spell cards like that. But being able to just +1 is pretty nice too, so maybe you can run it in the Spartacus build. Alrighty, next up we have Chromatic Duel, so it's a 5 cost spell. You can activate for 2 play points to banish this card in your cemetery and give each Knight token on your field +1 attack and Storm. You can spend 5 to search your deck for a Queen Chimera the white and a Queen Magnus the black, put them onto your field and give them +1/+1, then shuffle your deck. Alright, so it seems pretty fair to be spending a total of 5 to search out 2 cards and playing them, because you spent like almost all of your play points that very turn. So being able to play 2 cards and then getting their fanfare, and then on top of that they get a buff, is pretty good too. And then also this card having a cemetery effect for those tokens that you're going to be spawning out to go ahead and give them +1 and Storm is pretty good too. Alright, next up we have Dario Demon Count, so it's a 4 cost 4/4. You can evolve from 1 and he has a sail. Alright, so I think the sail is going to matter in the evolve side, so let's go ahead and get into that. Alright, looking at Dario evolve, so he turns into a 5/5 and he still has a sail, but during your turn, when an enemy follower on the field is put into the cemetery, give this follower +1/+1. Alright, so it looks like with this effect, if you're going to be swinging into followers, which you said since you have the rush and a sail from evolved, you can go ahead and give this the +1 attack and he'll be a 6, but you do have to remember the damage counter, so if he doesn't take a total of 6 damage or 5, then he's able to go ahead and get some 1 health back. Alright, and then we have Queen Chimera the White, so she's a 3-cost 4/3. She has Rust, and when she swings strike ability, put a Knight token into your EX area, but when she comes into play, you summon a Knight token, and if there's a Queen Magnus the Black on your field, summon 2 instead. Alright, so it looks like when you use the spell card Chromatic Duel, you're going to get the most out of this fanfare effect by spawning out a whole bunch of Knights onto the field, and if you have the extra play points, so if you're on a total of 7, you're able to give those Knight tokens that Storm. Alright, and looking at Queen Magnus the Black, so she's a 2-cost 2/2, and while this card is on your field, Queen Chimera the White has a sail. You can also activate to engage this card and select up to 2 Swordcraft followers on your field and give them +1 attack. Alright, so this is interesting. So when playing this out, Chimera is going to have that assail. She already has the rush, so she's now going to be able to swing into unengaged followers, which is nice. But also engaging this follower is going to choose 2 Swordcraft followers and give them the +1 attack. Then on top of that, using the Chromatic Duel to play points, those Knight tokens that the Chimera spawned out is going to be swinging for at least like 3 damage with the Storm. Alrighty, next up we have Axe Princess, which is a 1-cost 2/2, and you can evolve her for 4. I'm not gonna lie to you, this is literally just like a goblin. Like a goblin is a 1-cost 2/2 and you evolve him for 4. But looking at Axe Princess Evolve, she's a 4/4. On evolve, you select an enemy following the field and deal it 4 damage. Alright, so I think Axe Princess is going to be really valuable for her unevolved side, just being a 1-cost 2/2, especially playing low to the ground. But the unevolve effect is pretty nice just to have a backseat thing, to have a 4/4 on the field to swing, and then also deal 4 damage to a body. Alrighty, next up we have Master Samurai, who's a 3-cost 2/4. He has Rush, but when he comes into play, you select an enemy following the field and deal it X damage. X equals this follower's attack. Alright, so just brainstorming here a little bit, it looks like cards are going to get the buffs before they get their fanfares, which I didn't know about the timings there. So if I have Leonidas Resolve on the field and this card's going to get the +3/+3 in Rush, which he already has Rush, so it really doesn't matter. So playing this out is going to get that big buff stat, so giving him the +3/+3, it's going to deal 5 damage to a follower on the field. Alrighty, next up we have Savage Swordsman, so he's a 1-cost 2/2. When he comes into play, if there's a token follower on your field, give this follower +1/+1. You gotta love the 1-cost that turns into a 3/3 Skeleton Fighter. Is that you? Well, if you're gonna be playing black and white, I think this is a good bronze card to be using because you're gonna be spawning tokens out all the time when playing the deck. So having a token out on the field and having the 1 extra play point is going to give you a nice big board. Alright, next up we have Tycoon. He's a 5-cost 3/3. When he comes into play, fanfare, discard 3 cards, and then draw 3 cards and recover 2 play points. So it looks like this is going to be a card that's going to be really good in Spartacus because you're really not going to care how many cards are in your hand. You're just going to try and draw as many cards as you can. So being able to recover those 2 play points gives you that extra 3 to play around with. And then you can probably play something like the Najonia Maid that's going to be able to draw you 2 cards and then discarding it too. Alright, and lastly we have Frontline Rampart, so it's a 2-cost amulet. You can quick/activate by putting this card into its owner's cemetery. You can select an enemy following the field and deal it 3 damage. Alright, so I'm not sure if this is to go for any of the both decks, both either Spartacus or like black and white, I'm not sure. But having an amulet that can just sit on the field and quick timing deal 3 damage to something is pretty nice, especially when you're playing really low to the ground. You need to get cards out of your hand. I think this is something you can just add into your deck. Alright, so here is our UR for Swordcraft, so it is Spartacus. And I'm not gonna lie to you, the art style kind of reminds me of the Dungeon Crawler Dragon's Crown, if any of you have played that. It's a real good classic. I know my age is kind of showing here in terms of gaming when talking about that game, but it does kind of remind you of that art style, so I kind of really like it. But if you're going to be looking for this Spartacus, I hope you're able to find it and able to obtain it because this card actually looks pretty cool. But alrighty soldiers, that is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. I'm very excited for this upcoming set 9. I hope all of you are. We got some more reveals coming up next week, so look out for that next week. We'll be starting on Monday, of course. I might put a poll up for whatever you guys might want to do, or you can just let me know in the comment section below which one to look forward to. Either or can work for me. Well, alright soldiers, I love you. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you're safe whatever you do tonight and safe whatever you do for the rest of the year. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.
Yeah, TRINN. Just to get you away. What I got to do, what I got to do. Just to get you away. What I got to do. do.